It's that time of year again. Time for the annual inspection blitz known as the International Roadcheck, put on by the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. Isaac Harmon, Director of Safety at CPC Logistics, explains in this episode how to prepare for Roadcheck and how it actually can help your safety score. This is Deborah Lockridge with Heavy Duty Trucking, and today I'm talking to Isaac Harmon, Director of Safety at CPC Logistics, about the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance's annual International Roadcheck, how to get ready for it, and about inspections in general. So welcome, Isaac.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit first about your background and about CPC Logistics.
I'm the Director of Safety with CPC, as you said. I started in the trucking industry back in 2006. Started with a food service trucking company. Started in the operations side of the business, and then about 2012 I moved to Atlanta and got into the safety side of it. So I was with that facility for about 4 years, and then I moved over to CPC as the regional safety manager in the Southeast, and then moved up to a senior manager of safety, and then ultimately the title I'm in right now, which is director. CPC Logistics, we are a labor leasing company, and we specialize in providing our customers with Class A CDL drivers. So we hire, train, qualify, and manage the drivers for them and provide them to basically a private fleet. So they're on a dedicated account essentially. So, a couple of our largest accounts, we supply them with about 1,350 drivers. Another one of our larger accounts is about 900 drivers. So we fully manage the drivers for those clients. And then we also offer other services such as some of the routing, full operational, dispatching type roles that we manage for them.
So since you're managing drivers, I imagine that safety training, walk around inspections, that kind of thing are a big part of that.
Correct. For our customers, the safety is the biggest aspect. That's one of the number one reasons why trucking companies operate or choose to operate a private fleet. And that's one of the reasons our customers choose to work with us, is because we put that heavy emphasis on training. On the safety aspect of it, because they're essentially entrusting our drivers to drive their equipment for them. So as you know, in the trucking industry, when you're driving a truck, it's a moving billboard. So everybody sees the truck, you know what they see. So they entrust us to basically provide them and hire the best drivers that will take care of not only their image, but their equipment on the road. So our safety aspect is very meticulous. It's very in-depth, and we specialize in doing a lot of safety. We do put a heavy emphasis on the safety, because the number one asset for us not only is protecting our customers' image on the road, but our asset is the driver in the truck. So our number one goal is getting the driver home so they can go home to their family the same way they came into work, and that's where our main priority lies.
So every year CVSA does this road check. This year it's May 13th through 15th. For some who may not be quite sure what road check is, what is it?
So the road checks, the number one way the FMCSA monitors and kind of scores companies is through roadside inspections. And that's through a DOT scale house that all trucks have to pull into, or state troopers that do just random inspections on drivers. They'll pull drivers over and they'll do random inspections, both on the driver and the equipment. There's different levels of the inspections that they can do. I believe there's like 4 or 5 different levels. The majority of our drivers only deal with level 1, 2, or 3. So a level 1 inspection is a full inspection, which means it can take anywhere about an hour. But an inspector is going to inspect the driver's logs. It's going to inspect inside the cab, make sure they have all their correct documentation. And it's also going to do a full inspection of all the pieces of equipment, all the safety equipment on the truck, make sure everything is working correctly, from lines and hoses, no audible leaks, to lights, make sure all lights are working, to brake pads, make sure that the brakes are at the proper level. And this year, so the 72-hour road check is essentially almost all state troopers and DOT inspectors are on the road, and they are pulling over and doing just random inspections on as many vehicles as they can. And they always have a focus every year. So this year is going to be driver hours of service and tires. So while I think there's 37 points that they look for on their national roadside or on their roadside form that they fill out, every year they have two emphasis items, one on the driver and one on the equipment. So that's what this year's emphasis items is the driver E-rods and the tires on the equipment.
But that certainly doesn't mean they're not still looking at the lights and the brakes and everything else. Correct.
They inspect everything, as I said, the 37 points, they're looking at all of those things, but that's again just their emphasis item. They're going to make sure they take extra time on those items just to double check.
So what can drivers do to be ready? What can fleets help their drivers do to be ready for this?
Well, drivers, the best thing drivers can do is the good thing about the 72-hour roadside is they put out the dates in advance. So you know when it's going to come. So it's about getting your equipment. Every day the driver should be doing a proper pre and post trip inspection. Takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the driver. The best thing they can do for equipment issues is, really be meticulous about your equipment. Every time you leave, where you're dispatching from and getting out there on the road, you want your equipment to be able to hold up, not only for the public on the road, but also you don't want to have breakdowns and be stuck. So the best thing they can do is just preventative maintenance, doing extra thorough pre-trips, making sure all of your equipment, not skimping on anything, and getting that stuff written up. And if it needs repaired, getting it to the shop and getting it there as soon as possible, making sure they have the DVIRs, making sure they have, good notes on what needs to be repaired and fixed before they get out there on the road.
And so I understand that at CPC Logistics, you do something called a safety lane check?
We do. So we have about, I want to say we have about 17 safety supervisors, and we have 4 safety managers and 2 senior managers. They kind of oversee 2 different accounts. So our 2 biggest accounts, we have 17 safety supervisors in between. And what we'll do is we'll do random safety blitzes, random safety lane checks, which essentially when the drivers return or when the drivers get ready to dispatch, we'll be out there on the yard and we'll put them kind of through a mini, not the full-blown inspection, but we'll have them do a pre-trip with us. They walk us through a pre-trip. We check, make sure they have their license, all their E-rods are up to date, all their logs are certified, hours of service is in compliance, they have all of their insurance and everything that needs to be in the truck. And we'll do a quick walk around the truck and make sure, everything is hooked up correctly, all lights are properly working, checking tires, no leaks, no audible leaks and brake lines or anything like that. So we do that, randomly, probably two times a year at our customers' different locations.
What are there, drivers are busy trying to get their pre-trips, post-trips. What are some things that maybe they tend to overlook? They maybe get in a bit of a rush on those pre-trips and post-trips?
Some of the things that can be easily overlooked are just some of the smaller lights. Checking up top, making sure all of your top lights are working. Lights is always one of the biggest things that you see on a roadside inspection. And those can happen when sometimes the pigtails, which is the green electrical wire from the truck to the trailer, sometimes there may be a connection break in there somewhere, so the lights may work when you leave and then they're not working when you get back, or sometimes mid-trip. So doing a mid-trip inspection, if you stop to get fuel or if you stop to get a gas, or to use the restroom or get a bite to eat, just doing a quick walk around, making sure your lights and all that stuff are still working. It's really kind of the little things. The big things are easy to catch. It's just the little minute things that sometimes can tend to be overlooked because they can be taken for granted. So something like tire tread, that's the focus this year, but that's something that's, you look at it and, most drivers that have been driving in the industry for, 25, 30 years have the old penny trick. So you just take a penny out of your pocket and you're looking to see, can you see Abraham Lincoln's head? Or, if you can see his full head, your tread's probably too low. So just little things like that.
So the driver focuses the hours of service. What are some sort of possible pitfalls there?
Well, most of the pitfalls, when people hear hours of service, they think, is their log accurate? And are they in violation of hours of service? And usually, you don't see that very often. Most drivers nowadays, especially with E-rods.
Yeah, the mandatory electronic logging devices. Was it E-rods, electronic record of duty, right?
Yeah. The ELD, which is the electronic logging device, has to be tied directly into the truck. And then the E-rods is the electronic record of duty status. So I apologize if I'm saying acronyms.
No, Graham, we love our acronyms.
Sometimes we forget not everybody is accustomed to using the acronyms.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure since ELDs, but I know I think, as you say, some of those little things that might be not just the main, did you drive X number of hours?
Yeah, the big thing is making sure that, their statuses are correct. When the ELDs were implemented, they have making sure, you're not accepting any unassigned drive time. If the truck moves and you're not in it, especially for slip seat operations, which most of our customers run, if somebody moves the truck around a yard and a driver gets in, it's always going to prompt them, well, were you the driver? Did you move this? And if it's not them, they can inadvertently accept somebody else's drive time. So making sure the rods are accurate and correct for that driver. So every day they get in, they should be reviewing their logs for accuracy and then certifying them. Those are probably the biggest things that can get a driver either held up or get a violation, is not having their logs certified or their logs correct.
Is any other just sort of a general advice or tips for inspections or dealing with roadcheck?
So along with the hours of service is making sure that the drivers know how to transfer their electronic record of duties. Make sure every truck is supposed to, inside the cab, have an instruction sheet for an officer for a roadside inspection. So making sure they have that, because that is kind of one of those little pitfalls that a driver can get a violation on. If they don't have that, they can get a violation for not having that. So that's one of the things. And we try to emphasize that on our safety blitzes when we have drivers. And, part of the documentation that we're looking at is making sure they know where that's at and that's readily available. So I would say that's probably the biggest thing to get ready for the roadside, is making sure they have that. Most drivers understand their hours of service is their livelihood, so they do protect that, and they're not going to run in violation. They're not going to do anything to jeopardize their CDL. So it's those little things like making sure they have the proper documentation in the truck. That's one of those things that they can be going too fast and they can take for granted it's there, and then when they go look for it, it may have moved or it's not readily available, and that's something that can get them a violation.
Yeah, I remember when ELDs first came out, and we were talking to a former trooper. He was like, "Man, that's just there's troopers out there that they're looking for that every single time. They're getting dinging a lot of people on that piece of paper that you're supposed to have in the cab."
That's a big one. We did a heavy push with our drivers, making sure that they understand, that's a required document and where to get it. And we also try to find ways to give it to them digitally so they can keep it on them as well.
Yeah. Papers can get lost, blow out of the cab.
Yep.
And I guess with slip seating, somebody could move it, or you'd have a little harder to be able to keep track of that.
Correct.
One thing I know that every year roadcheck comes along, and some people are like, I don't want to drive that week. I'm going to take a vacation. Is it something they should be scared of? They should be avoiding?
Not at all. Most of our drivers, we've had very good success We monitor our CSA scores for our largest customers constantly throughout the year. So if we start to see any kind of upward trends in certain categories, we're bringing that to their attention, whether it's through electronic messages to the drivers, messages through the ELDs, safety messages with our supervisors. Our supervisors are out in the field seeing the drivers on a daily basis, doing one-on-ones, talking about it. So we have weekly meetings with our safety team on what we're seeing trend-wise and what we need to really focus on, what we need to get the driver's attention on. So we bring that to their attention, so it's not something that there's so many things that a driver deals with. When we can see what the trends go with, we can bring that to their attention and kind of get their focus on it. Roadside inspections are nothing really to be feared. They actually can help the company and help the drivers. The more clean inspections they have, the better their scores are. That's really the best way, outside of waiting for any violation on CSA to fall off. The best way that a company and a driver can lower their CSA scores is clean inspections. So the more clean inspections you get, the better you are.
That's right. That's right. All right, great. Well, Isaac, again, thanks so much for joining us to talk about Roadcheck.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
I've been talking to Isaac Harmon with CPC Logistics about how drivers can prepare for the annual International Roadcheck Inspection Blitz. You'll find more helpful content to prepare on topics such as pre- and post-trip inspections, behind the scenes at a weigh station, tire maintenance tips, and more on truckinginfo.com, where you also can subscribe to our e-newsletters and HDT magazine. And don't forget to subscribe to HDT Talks Trucking on YouTube or your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss an episode.